Ellie from Klum House, and I'm going to show you how to customize your Pendleton zipper pouch with a leather wristlet that's detachable. I'm going to show you how to make this cute wristlet strap as a little hack or add-on customization that you can do on your Pendleton zipper pouch. So this is just a really nice, cute way to carry your pouch around. All right, so if you're gonna do this customization, then you wanna make sure that you don't set your zipper pull leather onto the pull of the zipper, right? So we need that to be able to clip this little 1/2-inch swivel clip into. So let's get started. You can purchase a 1-inch leather strip from our shop online, and this is the 5 to 7 ounce leather. So I'm gonna start with that and I'm gonna cut it down to 1/2 inch. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it to 19 inches because that's how long our wristlet strap is. So I'm gonna get a nice straight end here to start with. I'm on a cutting mat with a quilting ruler. All right, so let's flip this around actually. My favorite way to cut is actually to cover up the measurement that I want to cut with the ruler. All right, so I have my 24-inch ruler and I can see through the ruler and I can see that my leather strap is aligned with the 19 inches there. So make sure you're on the correct side of your ruler where the numbers actually start. So here's my number 1 here. So I know that this is actually 19 inches long, right? And now that I feel comfortable that this is 19 inches and this is nice and straight, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off right here. All right, so then I can use the rest of my leather strip for something else, and now I have the right length. But this is still too wide. We want it to cut it down in half because it should be a 1/2 inch wide. So the same deal with your ruler, you're gonna cover up a 1/2 inch of your leather strip, and I can come in here and really coax the leather strip into place because I can see through my ruler, I can see if it's aligned with the 1/2 inch there. And when I feel comfortable with that, I'm gonna just go in and use a good amount of force here, walk my hand down the ruler, and cut this leather strip down to 1/2 inch. All right, so I actually have enough leather here to make 2 wristlets, but I only need to make 1, so I'm gonna put this aside. All right, so now that we're done cutting that, let's go ahead and get some holes into this. You can either use a regular pen or you can use a leather silver pen. And I'm gonna come to the back side of my leather here. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure in a 1/2 inch from each end, okay? I'm gonna use my leather pen here, covering up my leather strip with a 1/2 inch of my ruler, and then I want to make a little dot halfway in the width of the leather. So this is a 1/2 inch leather, so my dot is right there, 1/4 inch in, because that's half of 1/2 inch. And then I'm also a 1/2 inch in from my cut edge, right? So I'm getting my spot here to be able to punch a hole. All right, and let's do that on the other side too. So we're a 1/2 inch in and we're centered on the width of the strap itself right there. All right. The next hole that I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna measure 2.5 inches in from the cut edge, and you want that hole to be centered. So we're making marks in order to punch holes in the next step, right? So I'm 2.5 inches up into the leather here, and I'm centered on the width there. And I'm just gonna make a little mark there for the next hole. Now there's 2 different ways to make holes in your leather. You can either use a 1/8 inch drive punch on a cutting mat, on a cutting board with a mallet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with that there. And you wanna vertically align your drive punch onto your cutting board and then strike it with the mallet. Okay, okay? The most important thing here is you never want to use your drive punch on a hard surface. You always want to use it on a cutting surface, right? So there's that one there, but if you want, and if you have a rotary leather punch, you can totally use that instead. Just use it on the third smallest hole for the ones that you can get on our online site there. And then I'm just gonna squeeze that over my silver pen mark. So that's another way to make holes in your leather. So either way works great. All right, so now that I have holes in my leather, I'm gonna grab my clip and my rivet and my hard surface and my hammer. And let's just mock up what this wristlet looks like, and then set the rivet into it and just make sure it's all set up correctly. So I still have the wrong side of the leather face up, and I threaded my swivel clip onto the end of the leather where the holes are closer together. So I have these two punched holes here, and that's actually going to thread up like this, and you're gonna align those two holes there. And then you can take your rivet, push it through the back of the leather, which is the right side of the leather here, and then up into that second hole. And then the last step is you want to pull this around to get that wristlet there and connect the cap. Okay. So that's set up there to set the rivet. It's a lot of leather and it's pretty thick, so the cap might not want to click into place very easily. So let's go ahead and hang the clip off the hard surface, right? So you always want to set a rivet on a hard surface. And then I'm going to make sure also that my rivet is vertically aligned, right? So I don't want my rivet to look kind of crooked, or if I go and hammer it and set it, it's going to set crooked. So I'm making sure my rivet is vertically aligned on my hard surface, and I'm holding it in place with the leather around it. And then I'm gonna grab my hammer and I'm gonna hit it with light to medium strikes at first, coaxing the rivet down. And when I start to see it set, I'm gonna hit it a few more times a little bit harder. And that looks great. And I could see that the rivet is set into the leather because I can see it indenting into the leather. And that's my wristlet there. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like on our zipper pouch. So you can just clip it onto the zipper pull there. And it acts as a really nice way to open and close your pouch. And it's a super convenient way to carry your pouch around. So that's how you add a wristlet customization to your Pendleton zipper pouch.